Welcome to Money Talk with Aaron Ricketts, presented by Ricketts & Associates, 3245 North Adrian Highway, Suite F. The opinions voiced on Money Talk are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, financial, or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities are offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Back here in the studio with Aaron. Hey, Aaron.
Hi, John.
Okay, what do we got on tap? Student loans.
Yes.
A lot of them got them.
They do. I don't know what our percentage is of student loan debt or the number of people that have student loans, but I think it's a lot. But some are small, some are big. The focus of our conversation today will be to try to maybe help answer the question, should I pay off my student loan debt first, or should I pay my minimum amount on my student loans, because you got to pay something, right? And also use that money, the extra money, to contribute to my retirement plan. So the answer to that question is going to be different for everyone. That's the first thing. It's always going to be different. But if you can, first take a look at how much you're making and how much your student loan payments cost each month. Then total up how much your monthly expenses are, including those student loans, and subtract that from your total income. That difference will give you an idea of how much is left over to put towards retirement. Now, one thing people forget when they add that stuff up often is entertainment. And sometimes they forget about, like, eating out. As a restaurant, they'll put that in their food budget. So they'll say, well, a family of husband and wife and a child, 3, our food budget for groceries is, $400 a month, whatever it might be. But then they forget and don't look at that another $400 or $500 they're spending eating out on a daily basis. That I consider is entertainment, because it really doesn't fit under the grocery bill. I mean, some people do put it in there, because I do see that when people come and talk to me about budgeting and, what their needs are for income. But see what's left over, see what you can contribute, and that may be what you can contribute to retirement or a part of it. Your minimum payment should always be met on your current student loan to avoid any penalties, and you don't want any negative impact on your credit score. After that all has been satisfied, whatever percentage you are able to contribute towards your, say, employer sponsor plan, at work, your 401k, take advantage of the maximum employer match. Make sure you're doing that. I would say even if you have high loan value and you have high payment value, payments each month, you should make sure if that company is matching, 1, 2, or 3% or more, you are at least getting that match, putting that away, and work through the other student loan issues. Again, I'll go back to saying we're talking about, should I pay off my loans versus, contributing to my retirement plans. The question or the answer to that is going to be different for everyone, right? And some people just can't. I get that. They have to pay off their student loans. If you listen to some of the budgeting gurus out there, and there's one big guy named Dave Ramsey, he kind of goes along with that idea of getting the match, but he certainly wants those student loans paid off. He doesn't want that debt, doesn't want you to have that debt. Another thing you should take into account is how much interest you're paying on that student loan debt. So if you have sky-high rates and it's making it difficult for you to keep up, you may want to consider putting more money towards that debt. So if you're, putting more money towards that debt, you're putting less, most likely putting less in your retirement plans. If you have high interest rate student loans over 6 or 7%, you're going to have to go after those loans first. Focus on those loans. There's approaches such as, let's say you have 3 student loans, a $10,000 loan, a $20,000 loan, and a $30,000 loan. Even if the $10,000 loan is the lowest interest loan, mentally, it might be best to tackle that loan first, to go after that one, because it certainly is a way to feel good about yourself after you pay off that loan quickly, or quicker than you would a $20,000 or a $30,000 loan. There's this thing called the snowball effect that, again, go back to Dave Ramsey. He's not the first one that talks about this, but if you really want some guidance and you have some serious debt issues, you might want to go check him out or look at his books. And he also has a program that you can buy. This always cracks me up. You know, he's a debt connoisseur, and he's a multi-millionaire, and I'm sure most of it's from selling books, how to get people out of debt. Don't go into debt, right, to pay for his plan. But I'm telling you, he can help. It takes a long time. It's a lifestyle change. You have to change your lifestyle to figure out how you can control or pay off that debt, especially student loan debt. A good thing about student loan debt is it's often amortized over a long period of time. So your monthly costs are lower than it would be if you had a 5-year car loan. These are usually a 10-year loan rate. And so, it's extended and makes it easier to pay. So I said earlier, always look to contributing up to the match, at least the match of what your company is to offer. And it's estimated somewhere around half or more of the Americans still, of age up to 30 still owe money on student loans. But the big thing is when you're contributing to your retirement plan with compound interest, not only do you get money or return on your initial investment, but you also earn returns on those returns each and every year. That compounds over and over and over. So the earlier that you start investing and you let your money sit in those investments, which is that retirement plan, it will grow and grow and grow. So no matter what your debt situation looks like, you need to always put something away for retirement. And that's my opinion about it. And, when I read a lot of different resources in this business, they always often follow that same path. You want to think about at least putting some money away. Give you an example. An 18-year-old, you graduate, many go to college, some go right to work. If that 18-year-old invests $100 a month and earns 6% rate of return, 6%, that's kind of modest in the market when the average annual return is well over 8 or 9%. In the, let's say, Standard & Poor's 500 over the last, 30, 40 years, that $100 a month at 6% return, by the time a 18-year-old is 65, they will have amassed over $300,000. And that's just $1,200 a year, right? $100 a month. And you don't change that at all. But if that same person waits till they're 40 to start that $100 a month, they'll have $70,000 by the time they're 65. So again, it makes sense. Put some money away at retirement or for retirement early. And as I say this, people ask me, how much should I invest, to save for retirement? And I say, well, save as much as you can, as soon as you can, for as long as you can. I don't know how else to give them any better advice than that. But just keep that in mind. So even if you only contribute, from that conversation I just had, even if you only can contribute a small portion of your paycheck to retirement, it's better to start early and invest small amounts than to put away nothing at all. It's going to be tough. And I know I've had conversations with some neighbors or others that are very young, starting their first job. And even if they're only making minimum wage, when I talk to them about if you invest or save, let's say 10% of your gross paycheck for the rest of your life, you're probably not going to have any want for money. If you work for 40 years, you're going to have a lot of money saved up over that time. So then I tell them, well, what's the right investment? Maybe a Roth IRA, right? When you're making minimum wage or $10 an hour, it's probably in your best interest. And then they do that. And then they see the money, right, on their pay stub that is not going into their checking account. And it kind of cracks me up. There's always that look like, I could have an extra $35, a week or every other week.
Boy, what I could do with that.
Case of something or two, right? That
Right.
would buy me. I'm always short about $30 every week, and this would fix that. So they'll get it, right? You know how it is, wisdom, age comes wisdom, or wisdom comes with age. So it'll be better later on for them if they follow that path. It's one of those things. It's forming good habits, right, when you're young, and putting it away. And we talked about this off air. You don't often even have to look at it, right? If you sign up for your statements online, maybe you just look at one statement a year. It's up to you, if you want to do that. Most people will look at it a little bit more than that, or at least look at it, open it up, or see what the value is and say, oh, it was a good quarter, or it wasn't a good quarter. It was a good year. I get that. But how can you save for later in life more efficiently? Okay, I want to answer that question. So finding ways to make your money go further can help ease the burden of trying to save for retirement and while also, paying off the student debt, because that's mainly what we're talking about is, what's best. Tax-efficient savings tools are one way to help grow your money faster. Again, right back to the 401k. If it's offered by your employer, it's funded by pre-tax dollars, and it's funneled straight through your paycheck. It is so much easier to have a payroll deduction than it is to have your student loan money, right, your payment coming out of your check on a certain day of every month, checking account, because you always got to make sure that you have enough money in there. Well, when you're doing the payroll deduction, it just never comes into your checking account, and it's a lot easier to manage your financial affairs that way. Again, forming a good habit and just doing that. There's a lot of ways you can have money taken right from your paycheck. You can have, often employers, you can have money taken like $50 a paycheck to go right to a special savings account. And maybe you don't even have it at the same bank or credit union. So you do all your checking and I call it operational work in your checking account from your credit union account, let's say. And that's where you pay all your bills from. And that's mainly, what you live out of. And then you might have $50 go to XYZ bank over here, and that's your savings account, and you don't have a debit card or any type of access to it unless you walk into that bank. Keep it at arm's length, and you can, save a good amount of money that way. We're, kind of focusing on, how do we pay off that student loan debt? And I'm not getting into, for the most part, of ways you can consolidate and pay down that debt, but there are certain employers that'll help you, pay off your loan. So you can look for those companies or some municipalities, some teachers, depending on where they work and how the areas that they work. And there's a lot of different options out there. It is kind of small and restricted. Most of us that get student loan debt, we just got to pay for it. It's as simple as that. But interest rates do change, and there are companies out there that help you consolidate. If you're low income, just think of this, though. If you're low income, you certainly can go and ask for these waivers that will allow you to reduce the amount of payments that you make. Now, you're always going to have to pay it, right, and pay it off. But it might help you at least get started where, if you want to get out of your parents' house and this $600 or $800 a month student loan debt is payment is keeping you from doing that, I would probably advise, if you're not my child, of staying home and trying to save money or get that debt paid off. But an option is for you to contact the companies, and they'll look at, what your overall other payments are and your income, and you could reduce that debt, at least temporarily, if that's what you want to do.
So if people are looking to get some advice, try and get something figured out?
Yeah, give me a call, 265-3540.
All right, Aaron, thanks a lot. And Happy New Year. I have a feeling that 2020 is going to be a very interesting year.
Yes. Happy New Year to everybody.
That's Money Talk with Aaron Ricketts, presented by Ricketts Associates, 3245 North Adrian Highway, Suite L. The opinions voiced on Money Talk are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, financial or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities are offered through LPL Financial member FINRA SIPC. Join us once again next week for Money Talk here on 103.9 WLEN.